Parties are what you really care about in the quiz zone. This is one of the 2 tutorial videos you cannot do without to be a host with the quiz zone. In this video, you're going to see how to create one. Let's start by going to the play menu and then clicking on parties. This is the party management window where you'll see all the parties you have created so far. You can optionally see the parties that are already completed by selecting or unselecting this option here. To create a new party, click on the New Party button. You'll get the Party Editor window, which is one of the most important windows in the management program. So let's go through this window. First of all, you need to check everything that is on the left-hand side of the window where you define the general settings of the party. I'll make this larger. So we can start by changing the party name. So we can call this Tutorial Party 1. Then you can specify if you want to have this party to have login with approval or not. Typically, you don't want this because if you have login with approval, then every team that is playing needs to be approved by you. This should only be used when you want a specific, usually limited number of teams to be allowed to play the game. So let's unselect this. Latency for web streaming is explained here by just hovering on the question mark. This, you can leave it at 0 if you're hosting a local party, or you can put it between 4,000 and 5,000 milliseconds, which is 4 to 5 seconds for online parties, which we suggest to host with Twitch or YouTube gaming. This is the time difference between what you see while hosting the party and what your players see while they are playing remotely. So this gives them more time to answer questions after you see the question is closed. Since we are hosting local parties only now, we're going to leave this to 0. Questions language, you can select between English, Italian, and other. If you select other, you're only going to be able to select custom questions because, of course, there is no other language in our questions database. So we just leave it to English. Here you can customize the points that you win or lose for a correct or wrong answer. By default, you win between 500 and 1000 points and lose between 250 and 500 points. If you unselect this, you are going to penalize errors or not. Then you can specify how many abstentions you want to allow without penalizing them, so they come for free. You can have unlimited abstentions, and you can specify if these abstentions apply to the whole party or to each round. Then you can change the time limit per each question. By default, that's 15 seconds. You can specify if this is a sponsored party. So if it's a sponsored party, you can select a sponsor image, and you can also add a text with which you're going to thank your sponsor for supporting your party. And here you can select which tournaments your party belongs to. So it can be all your tournaments, no tournament, one tournament. Let's make it part of the tutorial tournament. Then on the right hand side, you define rounds and questions. First of all, you need to select the party type. So you can select one of the basic party types, which are classic, elimination ladder, power up, speedy, and survival. Or you can select one of the custom defined party types, as we discussed in the customization video. If you want to use one of the basic party types, then you're also allowed to change the number of questions that are needed. So for example, I want a classic party with 20 questions. That's really easy. But in our case, we want to select the 4 rounds plus final. So we have 5 rounds in total, as it's a custom party type that we have defined. And here we can do some customization. We can customize the round name. So we can call, for example, the survival one, we can call it zombie. And this is going to be displayed instead of survival when you're going to play this round. You can specify a time limit we can make this third round with 10 seconds time limit. And then you can also apply different abstentions to each round. So for example, if you select apply to each round, then you can also customize the number of abstentions that you have. So here by default you're going to have 1, but in our case we may want the last round to not have abstention, so we just write 0 here, and every other round is going to have 1 abstention. So we have defined the type of party that we want to have, but we now need to define the questions that we are going to use. Now we have defined the party type that we want to use, so we need to define the questions that are going to be asked in the party. First of all, let's select the round that we are going to specify questions for, so it's going to be round 1. And then here we can select the questions that we want to use. So we can start by taking a look at the language, which is going to be English because it depends on the questions language selected here. And you cannot have a party with mixed languages, so that's why you cannot choose it here. Then you can select the category. So for example, I want to start with a music question. I want a quantity of questions of 1, a multiple choice question. You can also choose open questions here. Then you can select the level here, which can be selected between levels defined in the specified levels type. In this case, I only have default, so it's going to be the default levels. So for example, I can select an easy question. If you select extend range, this is going to allow the selection not only of easy questions, but they are going to be on average easy. So if I want specifically an easy question that I don't select it, I click on that one and I get an easy music question. Here you can also see that you are going to see the multimedia in case this question has any multimedia like an image or video or audio. And then you can also specify the custom time limit for the question here. Let's add some more questions. So I want a history, hard question. I'm going to use extend range and specify medium. I want some general knowledge. See, this is not medium, but it's hard because I specified extend range. Then I will do one showbiz, and notice that this has an image. And finally, since I got easy, hard, medium, I'm fine with extending the range. I'm using foreign languages, and I add one more. And this is easy. And so we have all the questions for our first round. As you can see here, it's 5 out of 5. So we can move on to the second round. Let's add questions to this round in a much faster way. So I just select any category, any level, or maybe it's fine if I leave it to medium level with extend range. We're going to use up party fill round, which is going to use a special algorithm that is defined to choose an optimized selection. Please spread out difficulty with nicely spread out categories so that players are interested in following a very diverse party. So I'll first choose also any level so that the algorithm is free to do whatever it wants. I click on Not Party Fill Round, and you see that I have 5 different categories and very different levels, so it's going to be quite interesting for the user, and you only needed to do one click and just select once here instead of 5 times. Let's move on to round number 3. Here I want to add some custom questions, so I want to click on Add Custom Questions, and I get the screen where I can see all the custom questions that are available, so those that I created. Here I can see the text because these are the questions that I defined. So now I may want to have some open questions as well. So I'm actually going to make this round with 3 multiple answers and 2 open questions. We can have this one, which is really easy as open. Then we can have, this is the national anthem of which country, open. Name of the monument is multiple, racing track, multiple, and then this sports multiple. And then I just need to close this window, and all these questions are appearing here. At this point, you may want to shuffle these questions. For example, I may not like the fact that I have 2 consecutive non-multimedia questions or 2 consecutive open questions. And so I may just randomly shuffle until I like it. This is not too bad, but I want to switch 4 and 5, so I select 4, I move it down, and now I think that this looks better. So we still have 2 rounds to complete, round number 4 and round number 5. And I'm feeling lazy, so I want to still use the out party algorithm, but now to fill the whole party. So I just click on out party, fill party, and you see that both round 4 and 5 are now filled. If you want, you can go here. For example, I may say, okay, I don't like this 2 very easy questions, but I like the fact that it's general knowledge, so I delete this. I go here, pick general knowledge, and I want a medium question, no extend range, quantity 1, add 1, and that's done. I also want to go to the 5th round and see how the time limit works. So for the very final question of the party, I want to have a shorter time limit of 10 seconds. And that's done. And if I don't like a round completely, I can go here to power up, for example. I can clear the round, click OK, and then refill it. Maybe not with general knowledge, but just refill it like this. And that's also done. I can similarly clear the whole party, but of course I'm not going to do that now because that would delete all the work that I have done. At the end, you just need to close the window, and voila! You now see that the status of this party is ready. Now you know how to create a party, and the next video will teach you how to run a party while people are playing it.